where news comes first. This is ABC-7 Extra.
Welcome to ABC-7 Extra Sunday Edition. Good evening, I'm Saul Sainz, and thank you for sharing your Sunday night with us. Tonight, we turn things over to you, our viewers. You get your questions answered directly from medical professionals and emergency managers. From long lines at both City and UMC for vaccines to mixed information about appointments and availability about the vaccine to those who feel they are underserved. We've been getting a wide range of questions from our community. Tonight, we'll try to answer all your questions before this program. Ask viewers to send us your questions. Some of you opted to email them. I also asked questions of folks waiting in line to get the vaccine. And here to answer your questions about the vaccine is infectious disease expert and a member of the Governor's Infectious Disease Preparedness Task Force, Dr. Ogachika Alozi. As for questions about getting shots in arms, registrations, and appointments, are both emergency management leaders, Fire Chief Mario D'Agostino and Assistant Chief Jorge Rodriguez. Gentlemen, let's get straight to the questions from one of our viewers. Let's listen.
We came 2 days ago and we waited 2.5 hours here, and then they finally told us that we couldn't go in unless we had a confirmation number. So
frustrating?
Very. I got other words for that.
Okay, Chief, I'll let you take this one, Chief D'Agostino. A lot of folks, we've seen the long lines. A lot of folks are frustrated over the long lines, going up there for their second dose to the George Perry site, then learning that they actually had to register. What answer do you have for this young lady?
So yeah, I mean, we had some events happen this week, and it was with the shipment of second doses. And so it's very hard to provide a vaccine when we just don't have them. And so we had a lot of the community coming out. They saw that it was a 28th day on their card. And instead of waiting to be contacted, they went ahead and came out to get their vaccine. While I understand that, we've been putting out the message that you need to wait for a scheduled appointment. And so those delays in lines, and we saw huge delays. We had got our process, we utilized Lean Six Sigma to review our processes and constantly refine. When we first started, 2.5 hours was the normal. Now we have them down under an hour waits. What we saw this week with the delay in shipments is the fact that people were showing up without an appointment. So we had 1,500 first dose individuals scheduled for the day, which is our normal throughput, and we're able to handle that within an hour or less. But we saw that, out of those 1,500 that were due second doses that day, they showed up as well. And so they got in the line. That turns a normal long line into an incredibly long line. And what that does is, as they get through the system and they're moving up, that's when they're finding out that the second doses aren't there. We had contacted everyone. We had tried to notify, we did notify everyone to wait for their scheduled appointment for their second dose, but they still showed up, and we understand that. What we're doing now, we've worked with the state. We've got our shipments in place right now to get our second doses out that we need to. And we're actually personally calling up each individual to schedule their second dose. So we're not sending them a link. We had our IT system and we had the link there. We're actually calling them up, registering for an appointment, and getting them back through the line. Yeah. So we did see those long delays on Tuesday and Monday and Tuesday of this week. It was quite long delays.
Got it. Gentlemen, let's listen to our second question. What would you ask the experts?
I would ask if I can double up on the vaccines, like get the Moderna first and then the Pfizer one.
Dr. Alozi, I'll let you take this one. Were you able to hear the question?
Yeah, I heard the question. Great question, something I've been getting from a lot of people. So the recommendation is not to double up. There's no increased efficacy of getting one set of vaccination now and getting another one then. There are some trials right now, and I think they're interesting, that are seeing what will happen if you get Pfizer first and Moderna second, or Moderna first and Pfizer second. But those are all trials. That's not ready for the real world. I think what's important is that the city and county are doing their best, and I'm really proud to be in El Paso because we're best in the state of Texas in terms of getting out those vaccines into arms. It's what they call an arms race. We want to get as many of those shots into people as possible.
So I do have a question, though, because this question has been coming up. Are they effective with the variants that we've been hearing about?
Yeah, so I think the variants are something that people are getting a little bit ahead of. I think epidemiologists and scientists are rightfully so looking at the variants. We've ramped up our national surveillance program. But here's the reality. We know that whether it's Moderna, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Novavax, or Johnson & Johnson, which I'm really hoping gets approved over the next couple of weeks, The major endpoint, which is hospitalizations and deaths, they're all 100% effective. So the variants may slow it down a little bit in terms of mild to moderate symptoms, but the truth is that what we want to do is to be able to protect people so they're not dying and hospitalized. And all of these vaccines, irrespective of variants, are really doing good.
Chief Rodriguez, I have about a minute to go back to the first question. And full disclosure, I got a call on Friday from Ms. Limon telling me that she went out to get her vaccine today at the George Perry site. She said it was so smooth. She was there at most 40 minutes. What's different?
Well, just like Chief D'Agostino said, it was really a perfect storm of certain, with delays that of course caused individuals to show up without an appointment. So on a regular day, we're easily doing 1,500 with less than 1 hour wait. And so it's not an efficiency problem at the site. We've done a great job. Our teams, like Chief D'Agostino said, we've done extensive Lean Six Sigma. We looked at our process. We map it out. We find every inefficiency there and cut it out. So the teams on the ground are doing an amazing job. And it's unfortunate that on Monday and Tuesday, we had to turn people away, but we understand their frustration. But that process, and as you can see on every other day, it's a very smooth process.
Got it. Thank you so much, gentlemen. We're going to take a quick break. I do want to let you know that another huge provider, UMC, we asked them to be on the program. We sent out an invitation, but they weren't able to make someone available. So we're going to continue with the gentleman that we have right now. This is ABC-7 Extra. When we come back, we'll take more of your questions. And let me assure you, there are plenty of questions. You're watching ABC-7 Extra, where news comes first.
This weekend at Ashley Home Store's President's Day Mattress Marathon. Get 0% interest for 8 years on top bedding brands. Or save 20% off glide-away adjustable bases. Plus get $100 Ashley cash. Friday through Monday only at Ashley Home Store.
With Long John Silver's $10 shrimp shares, you can enjoy grilled shrimp, hand-battered shrimp, or popcorn shrimp. Your choice for just $10, because now is not the time to scrimp on shrimp. Long John Silver's Fish Share.
The most important thing in the Chevy Equinox is not forward collision alert or automatic emergency braking. No, the most important thing in the Equinox isn't any of the advanced safety features we've put into it. It's what you put into it. Chevy Safety Assist, standard on every 2021 Chevy Equinox.
Get a $4,000 cash allowance on most 2021 Equinox models. Plus, current competitive owners get an additional $750 cash allowance, and eligible GM card members can use an additional $1,000 in bonus earnings toward their purchase.
At El Paso Electric, we provide the energy solutions our vibrant region needs and deserves.
And we're transforming your energy landscape.
We're replacing 3 60-year-old generators with 1 low-carbon footprint unit.
Tripling the solar resources that currently power our region.
Developing innovations like utility-scale battery storage.
Offering resources to help you save energy and money.
And providing more ways to communicate with us.
Get to know us again and see how we're meeting the needs of our growing community.
Getting used to the new normal is not easy, but ordering your favorite burritos is. Download the Rita's Burritos app and order your favorite made-from-scratch burritos and pick them up in our convenient drive-thru window. Rita's Burritos, making things a little easier for you. 4907 Crossroads on the west side.
Don't miss Ashley Home Store's President's Day weekend sale. Friday through Monday only. Save up to 25% off store-wide. Plus 0% interest for 12 months. Or get 0% interest for 5 years with no minimum purchase and no money down. 4 days only at Ashley Home Store.
Welcome back to ABC-7 Extra. Tonight, you, our viewers, are asking the questions of our panelists. Here to try to answer your questions about the vaccine is infectious disease expert and a member of the Governor's Infectious Disease Preparedness Task Force, Dr. Ogechika Alozie. As for questions about getting shots in arms, registrations, and appointments are both emergency management leaders, Fire Chief Mario D'Agostino and Assistant Chief Jorge Rodriguez. Gentlemen, thank you so much. I appreciate you all taking time on this Sunday evening to inform our viewers. We're going to listen to our next question, okay?
The computer kept shutting off, and just a lot of problems that looked like no matter what I did, it would send me back to the beginning and things like that.
Chief D'Agostino, you had addressed this during the week about some folks who are either using their laptop. What are some of the technical issues that you've been seeing, and what can you tell the gentleman who we just had on?
So yes, and as Chief Rodriguez touched on, it was the perfect storm. You get those delay in shipments, and so you get people being turned away from the site. You get people frustrated. They're not getting their second dose. They haven't been contacted. That puts a strain on the system. So now you have everybody calling in. You got them questioning. It put a very strong strain on the system. As we've talked about, this past couple of weeks, we've done vast improvements in the call center. We've got our staffing up. Our staffing now has the ability to go ahead and book appointments. So as they're correcting issues, they can now go ahead and book it, make sure it's taken care of in the system instead of having to forward those issues or complaints forward onto somebody else. So those are some of the efficiencies. I mean, it comes with when we got that shipment 4 days late. It was a matter of we had no vaccines to give out, and I understand the public's concerns and their worries. We really do. We sympathize with that. But when we don't have the vaccines, we don't have them, and that's been the strain on the system this week.
Chief Rodriguez, let's talk about the call center. Are you manning? Do you have more folks over at the call center?
Absolutely. That was part of the surge response. I mean, it really was a ripple effect. When we had the delay in the second dose, of course, that raised a lot of questions with the public. So we automatically we and like we've been discussing, it's not just over this weekend, but over the last several weeks of getting new management, getting new technology in, so we can queue callers. Additional personnel to man that, and so it's a work in progress, but we're definitely going to see improvements over the next several days.
Okay, gentlemen, let's listen to our next question. If you could ask the experts a question about COVID-19 and the vaccine, what would you ask?
How soon are we going to get it, like the general public?
There you go, Dr. Alozzi. How soon can the general public get them?
Yeah, that's a hard one. I think one of the things that we've learned is that the vaccine isn't about the operations that we have in El Paso. It's about the state and the feds getting us vaccine, right? And I think what's really clear, the two chiefs have sort of alluded to it, is that you get us vaccine, we'll get it in arms. That's not a problem. We have over 100,000 people that are on various waiting lists, multiple sites that are willing to give them out. We just need the federal government and the state to give them up. I think what will happen, though, and what you'll see is as we get into March and especially April, once Johnson & Johnson comes online, and with some of the things that they've done around procuring more Moderna and Pfizer, you'll see that we'll actually have more supply than demand. And then, and I think the chiefs will be happy about this, they can sort of step back and let the CVSs and the Walgreens and the primary care docs and the FQHCs, let them take care of those people that are their patients, right? And be responsible for not just the first, but the second dose. And so it'll be a more open process right now. They're doing the best that they can considering the supply chain, and we understand it's in short supply.
Dr. Alozzi, you might have heard President Biden, Joe Biden, announced that we're getting an additional 200 million vaccines on top of the, I suppose, 300 million that we have so far. How much would that help us get closer to the general public being vaccinated?
Well, if you think about groups 1A and 1B, I think that was around 100 million people. Healthcare workers and long care facilities, right? And then people that were initially 65 and above with comorbidities. The state of Texas, the DSHS, has expanded it to 18 to 65 with comorbid conditions. That gets us probably about a third to 40% through our population. As we get more vaccines, we'll go to phase 2 and phase 3, and then eventually it'll be available to anybody that wants it. I think the other conversation is kids. A lot of people ask about kids, and right now these vaccines are not ready for prime time in kids. There are multiple trials going on, and we hope that by the summer we'll have information about kids.
Got it. Let's listen to our next question, gentlemen. What would you say to organizers? If you could ask them a question, what would you ask or what would you say?
I think the logistics could have been better handled in terms of more lines, you can't have a single file line of 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 people. I don't know how many people are here today, but going in to one line.
Chief D'Agostino, this young lady was referring specifically to that one line that comes down Global Reach, then down George Perry, but it's all one line. Has there been any talk about another mega site that could divide this into several lanes?
Okay, so I'm gonna talk to that specific site first, and then we'll talk about other mega sites. So looking at that site, we normally don't schedule 1,500 people all at once. It was part of that storm that we talked about that happened this week. It was part of the no shipment of those second doses. That left us in a bind, and people were showing up without an appointment. If the public, as they get their appointment, sticks their appointment time, there's no need to be an hour early, stick to just on time, then that line moves rather smoothly. Today's, as we talked about earlier, today's travel points of 40 minutes, from getting there, registering.
You mean on Friday? You mean on Friday, right?
Yes, and waiting for 15 minutes. That is the way it operates. That's the way we schedule. As far as the next hub, we're also looking at setting up another location. We've talked about that. It's in the planning stages, and it'll still be part of this city hub, the city hub we have right now, but it'll be at a different location. We've talked about this. We're looking at the downtown convention center. It'll be a walkthrough site. So we'll be able to offer either drive-through or a walk-in facility. And that's some of the things we're looking forward to bringing in the future. Again, it goes back to what Dr. Alosi said and the supply chain. Until we get more doses, we're just going to be splitting vaccines between two facilities.
Got it. Okay, we're going to take another quick break. Now, you're watching ABC-7 Extra. Still ahead, one of our viewers wanted to know what the side effects are, and also another viewer wants to know when El Pasoans can go back to normal. We'll be right back.
Right, your next adventure. Handwriting recognition and the Audi Q3. Lease or purchase a new Audi SUV and have your first month.
Some of the forgotten victims of the pandemic need your help now.
We're talking about these guys at the Animal Rescue League of El Paso and other nonprofits that help animals in need.
These agencies are experiencing unusually high demand. They need our support more than ever.
Donating is as simple as pressing a few buttons on your pin pad at your neighborhood Albertsons. All funds collected will stay in El Paso and Las Cruces.
Thank you for giving them a chance to find their forever home.
Why am I so calm right now? Because this isn't a spy thriller. This is a Nissan sales event ad. Right on cue. This Rogue has more standard safety technologies than that RAV4. It's almost too easy.
Hurry in for a low $229 per month lease on the 2021 Rogue.
Tick-tock, time's running out.
Great American Steakburger is El Paso's original steakburger restaurant, providing outstanding food and service based on the tradition of our founders since 1985. Our two locations on the east side at Yarborough and Montwood and on the west side at Mesa Hills near Sunland Park Mall have on-site, hand-cut, aged choice steaks, as well as an amazing selection of delicious seafood and, of course, our signature steakburgers. Dine in our family-friendly atmosphere or order to go and enjoy your favorite meal at home. Enjoy your next meal out with the Great American Steakburger family, El Paso owned and operated for over 35 years.
See what others can't. Virtual 360 camera in the Audi Q7. Lease or purchase a new Audi SUV and have your first month.
Welcome back to ABC-7 Extra. I also want to welcome back our guests, Dr. Guchica Lozzi, Chief Mario D'Agostino, and Assistant Chief Jorge Rodriguez. Gentlemen, let's listen to our next question. What question would you have for the experts?
If there's any possible side effects now or in the future.
Dr. Lozzi, this one is for you. Any possible side effects that we all know of?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think side effects are sort of broken down into two pieces, right? There's those immediate side effects and the long-term side effects. From an immediate side effect, I mean, the biggest thing is that pain, the fatigue, people feel a headache, some people get high fevers, chills, and body aches. And that's kind of to be expected. And we really expect that if your body's mounting the proper immune response anyway. So those are all good things. I think one of the other questions, the part two of that is, am I going to get anaphylactic shock? Data reported this week and last week, about 2 out of 1.5 million people. So very, very rare. And of all the people that had anaphylactic shock, all of them were taken care of, and it was discovered within 11 minutes, which is why it's so important at these sites that people are trying to wait 15 minutes to see the side effects. In terms of the longer side effects, so I think the reality is that we just don't know. We don't expect there to be any side effects because we've been doing vaccines for generations and no long-term side effects from most of them. But I think considering where we are in the middle of a global pandemic, this is an amazing accomplishment of science, and I'm excited for it.
Novel virus, new medicine. And let me ask you a follow-up question to that, though, which is one that I've been wondering about. If you get side effects when you get your first dose, are you expecting to get side effects, however minimal they may be, with your second dose?
It's all variable. It's so amazing. And this is the sort of beauty as I kind of geek out on science and being a doctor, is that every human body is different. I've seen twins get this, older twins in their 40s. One had absolutely no side effects, both shots, and one had fevers up to 103 both times. I think what we do have is data to show that people that have gotten COVID in the past actually potentially have more side effects. What's more exciting about that is we sort of think about if the vaccine supply chain shortens, is that those that had COVID previously actually mount a better immune response, up to 10 times better. And so in the coming months to years, you may see that they don't need to get vaccinated. So again, there's a lot of moving parts to this, but the important thing for people to understand is the benefits here far outweigh the risks.
Okay, let's get to our next question, please.
When do you think we can return to normal in El Paso?
I think that one's for you as well, Dr. Lozzi.
That's a hard one. I guess it depends on what we define as normal. I think it's sort of this balancing act, right? If you look at the flu, we've essentially eliminated the flu because we were masking and physically distancing and doing a lot better with hand hygiene. Obviously, COVID has ramped itself back up. There are going to be people that, vaccinated or not, so decide that they're always going to wear a mask around other people. They may not physical distance as well. They may start to move about some more, and I think that's appropriate. One thing I will say is this. I think it's important for people to understand that we have to have a conversation about vaccine hope and not vaccine hesitancy. The vaccines are the way to get out of this. They are the way for people to get back to normal. If you're with a vaccinated person and you've been vaccinated 2 weeks after your second shot, there's no reason to be wearing a mask. That's the whole point of the vaccines. Very different if you're unvaccinated. Very different if it's two people, one vaccinated, one not. Different conversation, although the data actually shows that really exciting that the vaccine will reduce transmission. But I think normal is going to be dependent on how people define it. But the important thing is that we're not getting there until we get vaccinated.
Got it. And Chief D'Agostino, this one is actually an email that I received, and this is the question. Do you have to go to the same place where you got your first vaccine shot? I got mine at George Perry and can't get an appointment. My sister got hers at UMC, and she has the date on her card. She wants to know why this happens.
Okay, and the way it's designed, the way the system is designed, you get your first dose at a location, that same location is going to receive your second dose. When they get that allocation for the second doses, it's to cover those original people that they vaccinated. So that's how it works. As far as UMC putting a date on it and us not, this week in point, I mean, 4 days late on the shipment, all those dates were invalid. That's where we had long lines. That's where I had everyone calling in. It goes back to that supply chain management. It's hard to give somebody a positive, definite date until you have those vaccines in hand. And that's why we've changed our tactics now. And we're actually waiting until we receive the shipment, and then we will call everyone to schedule them for their second dose point.
Chief Rodriguez, this question is for you. Has there been any talk, since this obviously you are with the city and county management, emergency management, has there been any talk about centralizing the entire system so it goes just through one system?
So we've been having those discussions, definitely. I mean, that it makes logical sense, of course, but some of the challenges that we've seen is this interruption in the supply chain. Trying to coordinate all the different hub sites through one process might be complicated. So we're hoping that once that supply chain smooths out and gets more of a regular uninterrupted shipments, then we can look into that much deeper and see what that will look like.
So where's that conversation at right now, though? Are the two sides meeting? Is UMC meeting with you all, or are you all the central? I guess because you are city and county, are you all talking to UMC about this, or are you holding some other meetings? What's going on? I want to know what's happening behind the scenes.
Having discussions with UMC from the beginning. I mean, we continually discussed, and this is not a brand new idea. I mean, we've been discussing this since we've launched. So, but it is everybody trying to adapt to the new hub concept that the state has required of the local jurisdictions. So we're trying to stabilize our systems, make sure that we're providing good customer service, and getting those solid systems in place. And then once that's has settled, then we can look and see how we can collectively improve the entire process for the community.
Chief Rodriguez, Chief D'Agostino, Dr. Alozzi, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us. We appreciate it, and I know our viewers will appreciate it as well.
Of course.
Good night.
Thank you.
And thank you for permitting us into your homes. We know you have more questions, but please continue to send them in, and we'll try to find answers to all those questions. I'm Saul Saenz, and this has been ABC 7 Extra Sunday Edition. Good night y buenas noches.